I'm Julie Zenner along with Dennis Anderson, and here's what's coming up on Almanac North.
Creating a bright future for young adults on the Iron Range is the goal of ReGen, and along with Range Makerspace, they're working toward enhancing economic and cultural opportunities in northern Minnesota.
The 2016 Duluth Air Show launches this weekend, and along with some high-flying attractions, education is also an emphasis this year.
And we'll have a news file story from 25 years ago and bring you the week's business headlines.
It's all coming up on Almanac North. Hello and welcome to Almanac North. Thanks for watching. This week's show is recorded on Thursday afternoon, and we have some interesting topics this week. So here's Denny to get things started.
All right, very good, Julie. Thank you very much and welcome everyone. Now, despite tough economic times, northern Minnesota's Iron Range is a great place to live and raise a family. Recent initiatives like ReGen and Range Makerspace could go a long way toward ensuring a bright future for young adults on the range. And here to tell us more is Jessalyn Sabin, an instructor at Hibbing Community College and board president of ReGen, and Andrew Hanegmon is the facilitator of the planned Range Makerspace. Thanks to both of you for being here this afternoon. Appreciate the drive from the range. Andrew, as you're making your time here, can you tell us a little bit about what you're up to?
Basically what we're doing is we're going to have a facility where people pay a monthly membership, kind of like how a gym operates. And they're going to have access to an entire facility with tooling and equipment that they otherwise would not have. Now, this equipment is very expensive. It's hard to get, especially for a young adult. And what we're going to do is we're going to take all those costs, and we're going to take them on, and allow members to pay a low monthly fee, very equivalent to a gym membership, and have access to almost $200,000 worth of equipment and tooling. Mm-hmm. But in addition to the equipment and tooling, it's also going to allow people to share ideas and knowledge. So it's cross-pollination of different trades, because we'll have an automotive bay, we'll have a carpentry section, 3D printers, laser engravers, and when all these different tradespeople work together, they cross-pollinate ideas and they kind of snowball.
What are you hearing or seeing from the public regarding this?
We've gotten a lot of support. We've gotten about 56 people that are actually signed up that say, hey, I'm going to pay the $40 a month and have access. We've had well over 200 people in total attend various things, be involved in the project. And overall, we've gotten tons of letters of support from the community. We've got sponsorships from Minnesota Power, Range Engineering Council, Iron Range Engineering, Arrowhead Manufacturing and Fabricators Association, among others. We even won a $10,000 Big Ideas kind of Shark Tank style competition down in Mankato. And it's really been very positive, and the support from other local organizations, much like ReGen and other agencies.
And Jessalyn, what is ReGen? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, thank you, Dennis and Julia, for having us here, and I appreciate being here with Andrew, because ReGen's all about attracting and retaining young and new talent to the Iron Range. It was really born out of a focus group because we are seeing this generational transition that's about to occur in the next 15 to 20 years, where more people are going to leave the workforce than enter it. And so it's really going to be imperative that we attract young and new talent to the area. So ideas and projects like the Range Makerspace are really crucial to offering different types of activities and facilities that young people and families will enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Now, for years we've heard, or at least there's been a perception that the range is really experiencing kind of a brain drain, where people your age, decide to leave because you have to go somewhere else to find those opportunities. Yet the two of you, Iron Range natives, made a conscious choice to be on the range. Talk about that decision and what's there for young professionals like yourself.
Well, I came back. I lived in Duluth for 6 years and returned to the Iron Range for work. My family's also up there. My husband's family is there. And actually, when ReGen began as a focus group, we asked those questions. Why are you here? We had about 40 young folks in one room together, and jobs was a big reason, family, outdoor activities, the general sense that you're able to have a bit of freedom because there's good opportunities for getting housing that's affordable, and just a whole variety of options in those respects. And so that's why I returned for family and work and those opportunities. And I think that's a lot of the same reasons why people stay.
Is that a similar story for you, Andrew?
Yep. So basically, when I was choosing to go to school, I was looking around, and I did HCC for a while, where Jessalyn works, and then I went over and found Iron Range Engineering, which is a 4-year engineering degree on the Iron Range. And so I went over there, so I didn't actually have to leave. And then what I did was I was able to pay off my house and some things like that. And so for me, I reduced the risk of staying. So I got a job right off the bat, right out of college as well. And so this is where my family is, this is where my friends are, and this is where I want to help to grow.
And I understand that the whole idea behind Iron Range Makerspace kind of evolved out of that experience with Iron Range Engineering.
Yep.
As a senior project.
Yes.
Talk about how you discovered it and what intrigued you about bringing this concept to the range.
Yep, so we were at a wedding, my cousin's wedding out in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we just kind of peeked our head into some windows in a downtownish area, and there was a guy on a CNC mill, and thought that was weird, and we looked in the next one, and there was a guy on a laser, and well, this is interesting. So we took a tour of it, and the person's job title was Dream Consultant. And the guy walked us around and walked us through the weld bay. And what was cool was as we walked through, we saw people from different ethnicities, different genders, different backgrounds, different trades, all working together, talking with each other, and creating something together. And I thought that was just so cool. And they're coming together over something hands-on where both the extroverted and the introverted can still talk about their projects together, and it's just this natural flow of ideas. And so we took that back, and I started talking to people about it. I said, this is really cool, someone should do this, and then people asked me, well, how far are you on it? And then I decided, well, I guess I'll look into it. So I approached the director of the program and said, I want to do this for a project. This is the team I want. I chose a group of 5 people, and then we had a facilitator that we chose. And we spent 4 months, so starting in August and ending early December, we just worked our butt off on it and really designed different things about it. Like, we went through different layouts to try to get people to share ideas, not necessarily in a factory. You're going to run it production flow. So you want a material to come in, you want it to go through processes, whereas we want to shake you up. So we want a bunch of tables and stuff in the center, not machines. So we want the tables there because we want people to walk by when someone's working on something. So we went through a lot of iterations.
For decades, Jessalyn, the Iron Range has been seen as sort of a one industry area, the mining industry. What are young people talking about today? What would they like to see in that portion of Minnesota that perhaps doesn't exist there now, but would attract them and keep them there?
Interestingly enough, jobs is always a huge attractant, certainly. But I think everybody is realizing with this recent economic downturn that mining needs to be part of a bigger picture. It needs to be part of the holistic health of the Iron Range. And so young people especially are looking for jobs that they can hop into and raise a family, where there's flexibility. A lot of the more tech-based jobs these days you can do remotely. And so if you decided you wanted to enjoy the environment of the Iron Range, live out in the woods, you can do that and remotely work via broadband connection or things like that. And broadband is another huge project and issue that we're discussing on the Iron Range.
So young people are thinking out of the box.
Right, and part of the reason that people want to stay, or one of the things that people want, is a place and a space and a means to connect. Anytime that you feel connected to your community, you're going to feel more involved, you're going to have more of a stake in it, and you're going to want to stay. Sometimes when we import people, especially let's say we get a new doctor coming into a healthcare facility, maybe the spouse of that doctor or their kids don't feel like there's enough to do. And so we really need to look at holistically what do we have to offer besides jobs? What kind of community involvement do we have? We have a fantastic community around here, but sometimes there's not a lot of crosstalk with what's going on, or maybe things aren't as clear as to what's available to get involved in. So one of the goals of ReGen is to provide a means for that connection, to connect different groups and ideas, and have that melting pot where people feel that they can really plug in.
Jessalyn mentioned the downturn in the mining industry. Do you think that in some way has created just the perfect storm for your business to really come in there and maybe inspire some entrepreneurs to try new ideas in the range?
Oh, absolutely. I think that it is an immensely perfect storm, not only for us, but both ReGen and us, and all these different organizations that are trying to make changes, trying to do things that are kind of out of the box, but not out of the box enough to be scary, right? So with the downturn in the mines, we had a lot of tradespeople, a lot of technically skilled workers that are laid off. They still are, a lot of them. And with that, a lot of these guys and gals have companies already. They just don't have time to work on them. So they have ideas. They just need the time to do it. And it gave them an opportunity to actually look at that a little more. So I know a few guys that make motorcycles in Virginia, Malicious Cycles, and they kind of had more time to focus on the bike building. There's a lot of entrepreneurs that have the ability now during that time to kind of think things over, and now they see the Iron Range Makerspace coming up, and maybe they have enough time to look at it. And
What are you hearing from state lawmakers? Are they working hard enough to try to bring new employment to the Iron Range? And even the IRRB, what are you hearing from them?
I think there's been a lot of efforts to diversify. We recently had the Recharge the Range initiative where a lot of people got in the same room and worked together to brainstorm ideas that really came from community members, because it really has to come from the bottom up. People need to be invested in the changes that need to be made, and it's not all going to come from the top down. So I really am glad that they've been engaging the community to move some of these cool new ideas like Andrew's Makerspace and other initiatives forward besides just our standard fields of mining and healthcare and such.
And I understand, oh, go ahead.
yeah, and the IRRB has helped a lot, both through the Recharge the Range event and in additional ways in network and getting us all connected. So they're connecting us to the right people, and that's been an important piece of our puzzle, that's for sure.
And ours as well.
Yeah.
And I understand that ReGen has an event coming up.
We
Talk
do,
about that.
yes. Thanks for bringing that up. Thursday, we have a speaker coming to the Minnesota Discovery Center. It is Ben Winchester, and he's going to be talking about rural brain gain. So when people leave their communities and then return later in their late 30s, early 40s, how do we leverage the skills that they've acquired elsewhere, and how do we keep that in our community?
Sure. All right, Jessalyn, Andrew, thank you both so very much.
Thank you for
Appreciate
having
your
us.
story. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Now, let's dig into our news file archive for a look at what was making news 25 years ago this week.
If you've ever wondered what it's like to plunge 12,000 feet down over Duluth, you've got something in common with the Golden Knights parachute team. But the similarities probably end there. This highly trained group was ready to find out.
Stepping out over the lake is, it's not a unique experience, but it is different. And it's kind of funny to look down and see all that water and know you don't want to land there.
And when it's time to go, these men are at their very best.
I think about what I need to do during the jump, what all's going on, where I need to be in the formation, the free fall formations that we complete. It's a little different now than it was way back then.
The show is a quick one. These mind-boggling formations are executed while screaming toward Bayfront Festival Park at about 150 miles per hour.
I think it's the closest you can come to actually flying without an aircraft. It's your arms and legs are flight controls. You can go forward, backwards, spin around in circles if you please. The only thing we haven't figured out how to do is go back up.
Staff Sergeant Gary Salmons captures these moments with a specially equipped helmet cam.
When I made my first jump, the adrenaline was there. I was scared, nervous, and excited.
But he's made 1,400 jumps, and after each feather-soft touchdown, it's time to rally the Knights together so they can do it all over again. Ryan Davenport, KDOH News.
The weekend that Northland aviation enthusiasts have been waiting for has arrived. The 2016 Duluth Air Show is Saturday and Sunday with a full day of flying acts and plenty of aviation displays at the Duluth Airport. A special emphasis of the show is on education this year and the growing aviation industry in the Twin Ports. Well, joining us with more on this weekend's event is State Senator Roger Reinert, the Volunteer Public Relations Director for the Air Show. And Dan Traska is the director of Lake Superior College's Center for Advanced Aviation. And thanks to both of you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Normally it's Senator, today it's Roger.
Roger's
Oh,
always
right,
good.
Roger, you're doing some double duty this year in PR, and you're also, I understand, going to be skydiving with the Canadian Skyhawks.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
How'd you get roped into that?
Well, it was just an opportunity to do. They wanted to have a couple people that I think had some name recognition in the community, and so actually it'll be Mayor Larson, myself, and Canadian Consul General Jamshad Merchant, so the three of us. And it'll be a nice symbolic demonstration of those cross-border relationships.
You are braver than I am.
Let's talk afterward and we'll see.
So how does this year's Duluth Air Show compare to past years? Is the event growing? Is it gaining in recognition? What's happening with it?
I mean, the event does continue to grow. I think the surprise of the air show, and I've been involved for 15 years now for most people, is that, it's not held every year, but the years it's held, it is one of our community's largest events. It's so weather dependent, but we can have anywhere from 35 to 50,000 people attend over a 2
This is what, a B-25 here?
That is, I think, the B-17.
Oh, okay.
We had a B-17, dancing B-25. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
We have both a B-17 and a 25 this year, so you'll see both if you come up to the show.
Folks may not realize it, Dan, but this is a wonderful air show town. We've had air shows here now for a good number of years, but this is also a city with an airplane industry that might be bigger than most folks realize. Tell us a little bit about the industry here.
Well, I like to refer to it as North Wichita. So Wichita back in the 40s was the Midwest large aviation industry, and it's just moved north to Duluth. We have Cirrus Aircraft with their successful SR series aircraft, and now the Cirrus Jet. We have AAR repairing aircraft for Air Canada for the airlines, and is just a huge hub of aviation here in.
And we have Lake Superior College.
Lake Superior
what are you
College,
doing
yes.
with the airline or with the aircraft industry here?
Well, we've had a flight training program for a number of years. I got involved with Lake Superior College about 2 years ago. About the same time I came on board, Lake Superior College started an aviation maintenance technician program, which we moved to the Duluth Airport last summer to Hangar 103, the Center for Advanced Aviation. Brought our aviation flight program together with the maintenance program, and the synergy of bringing all that to the airport has been fantastic for our enrollment. Pilot enrollment is up, flight training enrollment is up. We filled our day section for the AMT program the end of May last year. I think we filled it just before class started. So we opened a second section that is available for first-year aviation maintenance students as well this fall.
So you're doing PR for the Duluth Air Show, but in some ways, putting on your other hat, this is really also some public relations for the entire aviation industry in our region.
I mean, absolutely. One of the reasons I've been involved with the air show for 15 years is because it does a couple great things for our community. I mean, one, obviously, it's a major tourist attraction, and that's always helpful to our regional economy. But I think Dan really hit on what for me is a passion as somebody who loves aviation and is a pilot, and that is highlighting our aviation industry. You mentioned Cirrus and AAR, but
Sure.
of course the 148th, North Star Aerospace. I mean, I love the North Wichita comparison because we really have an entire industry that is here. And if you look back at Duluth weathering this last recession, did it better than most, came out quicker, and for much of it was better than the state in terms of unemployment. And you cannot discount the impact of aviation and the diversity to our economy.
Well, that's a good point. Financially, what does the airplane industry bring to the city of Duluth?
Dan might have, I don't know, maybe we'd both be guessing. It's big. It's significant.
Number-wise, I don't want to guess at that, but there are a lot of businesses in town that we don't think about.
Right.
There's SCS Interiors. I'm drawing a blank.
There's a lot of revenues
Other
generated.
sources.
There's a
Other
lot of revenues
There's
generated.
a lot of companies that are in business here because of the aviation industry that we don't think of. Like the first two I mentioned of Cirrus and AAR, those, and the 148th, we think of those right away. But then there are all the electronics companies that are involved in the seat manufacturers and the hydraulic companies, the support services,
All done here.
Monaco Air Service. We have a lot of jobs that are attributed to aviation in this town.
And I think one of the things that a lot of people who don't spend time at the airport might not really realize is the connections that all of those have with each other. One doesn't stand alone. Because the 148th is there and we have a significant runway infrastructure with the Duluth International Airport, we have the fire station out there, that allows a Cirrus, that allows an AAR. I mean, all of these things work connectively in a really kind of behind the scenes way. But I mean, just a great example happened on Tuesday when that B-17 came in. Most will recall we had big weather coming through. And all of a sudden, the entire airport community is talking about where can we put this amazing, beautiful World War II era aircraft so that it doesn't get damaged. And AAR moved some things around and got it tucked into their hangar just in case. And I mean, that is the advantage. I think, we all think that, or it's easy to think that if we have one successful business in an industry, another is competition. And to a degree, that's true. But I think what Dan started off by saying is when you develop a hub, hubs attract more because of those shared resources. And so, aviation in Duluth is strong and it's on a really good path.
Let's talk about some of the fun stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Coming up for the air show. What would you consider the highlights or the must-sees for people coming in?
Well, of course, the Thunderbirds. They are hard to miss when they're here, and they will be the headliners for the show. They haven't been here for some time, and this is the only appearance in the upper Midwest they're making this year. But what I would say to folks in the area, kind of the secret inside tip is, we have more static aircraft than we've had in a long, long time. Now, statics are planes that come in for the show and park. And typically, they're easy to see, and their crews are available to talk to and ask questions. And of course, during sequestration, the drawback of government funds, especially in the military, they just didn't come. It wasn't a critical mission. And we're now through that. So for some time, we haven't seen the number of static display aircraft we've had. So for those who like to walk around and see aircraft and talk to the crews, this is going to be a great year to do that.
How big a crowd and how much are tickets?
Well, I would direct people to DuluthAirShow.com because there's a number of different tickets that they can take a look at. And the crowd will be weather dependent. And so far, it looks like we have great weather, sun, little to no clouds, which is important, and cool. I mean, I think we're looking at highs in the 70s, and so that will be a perfect air show weekend.
And the education space in your hangar is going to be their rain or shine.
It's going to be their rain or shine. The B-17 is going to spend much of the weekend in front of our facility.
Wonderful.
So come and see the B-17. Inside we'll have demonstrations on our flight simulators and of our aviation maintenance program. We have a radial engine cutaway that will be turning so that you can see how a World War II radial engine operates, a number of other
What a weekend.
activities.
Yeah.
All right, we're out of time, but lots
very
of
much.
stuff. People have to go up and check it out themselves.
Absolutely. Look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing you.
All right, thanks. Let's turn now to the week's business headlines from our friends at Business North. Integrity Health Network has gained a significant new customer. Gateway Family Health Clinic, which with facilities in Moose Lake, Sandstone, and Hinckley, has joined the Duluth-based network. Integrity operates a health partnership program that works with the state of Minnesota to deliver health care more efficiently to low-income Medicaid recipients. Now, that program has saved taxpayers about $75 million during its first 2 years, according to Integrity.
A once scorned downtown Duluth building is being revamped to house a brewery, family entertainment, and a luxury condominium. Titanium Partners is remodeling the former Last Place on Earth building, once the site of a synthetic drug retail store. The first floor and basement will be leased to Blacklist Artisan Ales, which will operate a craft brewery and tap room. Solve Entertainment will lease space upstairs for an escape room where participants can solve a story-based mystery or challenge. And plans call for the top floor to be transformed into a luxury condominium overlooking Lake Superior.
Customer interest has sparked the construction of a new community solar farm in Iron River, Wisconsin. For the past year, Bayfield Electric Cooperative has been offering customers the opportunity to buy a solar panel or a share within its solar farm. The shares cost $500 per unit and provide approximately 270 kilowatts of usage per year. When the solar farm goes live, buyers will see a savings on their electric bill for the approximate usage of their panel. The estimated panel life is 25 years, with payback anticipated much sooner. For more on these and other stories, visit businessnorth.com.
If you have a comment about our show, now is the time to call. Dial 218-788-2849 to leave a message or send an email to almanacnorth@wdse.org. And visit the WDSE website for the latest information about the station, updates on your favorite programs, and news about station events. And Denny, thousands are expected in Duluth for the air show this weekend, so let's hope that the weather cooperates.
Yeah, we
for
certainly
them.
hope so. It should be just a marvelous program again. We've had air shows before, and they're just fabulous here.
Always exciting. I love the sound of the planes coming.
I agree.
Coming over. My house is kind of over the path. And we'll leave you with some video from one of this weekend's featured planes at the air show, a World War II era B-25 bomber. For Denny and the crew here at Almanac North, I'm Julie Zenner. We'll see you next week.